Zach, who would win in a fight? Black Panther or Captain America? Go.
Captain America's pretty strong. He pulls back helicopters.
Yeah, but Black Panther got that strength too. Bucky's metal arm was nothing to him.
Okay, well, Captain America has a big round frisbee with the flag on it.
Well, Black Panther ain't been trimming his vibranium fingernails, though. He's scratchy.
Okay, well, but Captain America can just see faster. Mic drop. Boom.
Black Panther and Captain America are pretty evenly matched in the MCU. Whenever they battle on screen, they're going blow for blow, matching each other in agility, strength, and fighting capabilities. They're very similar heroes ability-wise. Almost too similar. Well, what if I told you that Black Panther and Captain America were actually created the same way? That Captain America's super soldier serum actually came from Black Panther's heart-shaped herb.
Wow, so that would mean that the only difference between the two of them is that Black Panther has the exaggerated swagger of a Wakandan teen.
No! The red, white, and blue ain't the OG here. He'd be stealing all his powers from Black Panther. Or so this fan theory goes. With Falcon and the Winter Soldier on its way and more Black Panther series and movies in development, everyone is ready and waiting to see more from the characters who will carry the torch of these two heroes. As a result, that got us thinking, are Black Panther and Captain America more connected than we thought? Well, here's a little theory that is so interesting that the MCU writers might as well just steal it. My name is Callum, and I am joined by my wonderful buddy Zach. You ready to do some theorizing on this Reddit theory from 4-Dimension Toilet, my friend?
I am more than ready, okay? I've been on the biggest MCU kick, all that WandaVision content, I need more!
All right, well, let's jump right in. First, let's explain what the super soldier serum is. Zach, kick us off.
Well, what we all know is that the super soldier serum was created by Abraham Erskine, a German-born scientist who was alive around the time of the Second World War. So basically what the serum would do is beef up anyone who took it, giving them superhuman strength, agility, healing, the works, the whole kit and caboodle, right? It also apparently means you can't get drunk. That's a load of baloney, and I will not be taking the serum.
What do you mean?
Okay.
What do you mean load of baloney? What's the load of baloney?
Are you okay? If someone presented me with the option, be Captain America or never get hammered for the rest of your life, or don't be Captain America but you can get drunk with the boys, I'd pick get drunk with the boys. There have been several variants of it, but none of them have been able to achieve what many believe to be the perfect version of it, like what happened with Captain America.
Yeah, the big thing to know is what Erskine says. It enhances what is already within. As we see with all the variations, it can have massive fluctuations in personality, causing some people to go full-blown evil or insane, or just enhance a good man into a great one. There's a fair amount of difference between it in the MCU and the comics, though. It's not that the serum does one thing and that's that. It evolves every single time we've seen it.
Yeah, in the comics, everyone's popping a vial of the serum. You have Nomad,
Master Man,
Man-Thing,
Warhawk,
the Destroyer.
Hell, even Luke Cage got his powers from a program that was derived from Captain America's. The excuse is that it's always an experimental version of the serum, being that the characters were either somehow aware of the treatment or they stumbled across the serum recipe. That actually happened with Nomad. They just stumbled across the serum and they were like, you know what? I'd like to be Captain America.
And if your experimental version of the super soldier serum lasts for more than 4 hours, contact a doctor or SHIELD medical professional immediately. I don't know what they have. I assume just doctors.
This is the thing, right? Let's go through a list of the different variations we've seen so far in the MCU. Because, of course, you got to start off with the boy, Captain America. The guy went from get that man a sandwich to selling his workout routine on Instagram. The way the serum was described kind of feels like a plug for some weird natural workout supplement. It naturally enhances the metabolic, cellular, and chemical processes in the body, which can enhance recovery and healing abilities, as well as building up a greater resistance to fatigue and exhaustion. Side effects may include dopamine, testosterone, adrenaline, various endorphins, and hormones. It may also burn off your skin and make you unable to perform in any major sporting event.
You forgot a side effect. Makes you incredibly vulnerable to making horrible dad jokes. Well, we know that this serum was created by Abraham Erskine in Germany. Germany, which was used by Johann Schmidt before Captain America to create the Red Skull. Jumping across the world map, Arnim Zola, one of Hydra's lead scientists, had tried to create his own version of the serum, which he used on Bucky Barnes, and that one seems to be the closest relative to the Captain America serum in terms of abilities. Then it turns out that Howard Stark had tried creating the serum, which Hydra got their hands on, of course, after Bucky paid them a visit.
He really crashed the party. Get it?
Which they used to make the Winter Soldier program. However, Stark serum proved to make the Hydra subjects too aggressive and impossible to control, which led to them being put in cryo-freeze and later killed by Helmut Zemo in Captain America Civil War. Of course, during all this, people forget that Bruce Banner also had a variant of the Super Soldier Serum, but that, of course, resulted in the Hulk. We also see that Emil Blonsky, the commando sent to take the Hulk out, was then given another variation of the serum, but once combined with the Hulk's blood, turned him into, the Abomination. Just that guy, that low-level Hulk villain. Nobody knows him. It's whatever. I mean, especially after only using him in the one Hulk movie that we got. Can we have more of those, please?
I'd like to see more Hulk movies. One final variation to note was from Project Centipede, which was featured in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This version was combined with gamma radiation from the Hulk, a Captain America-inspired serum, and the Extremis formula, which, when unperfected, produced very explosive results.
Kaboom.
So we know what the serum is and what it does and how it's evolved since its debut in the MCU. But how does that mean Black Panther and Captain America are connected?
I mean, they fight literally neck and neck when facing each other, and a lot of the abilities seem to be similar, but how is it that Black Panther gets his powers, and how does that compare to the Super Soldier Serum?
Okay, the Black Panther mantle is passed down from king to king through royal heritage, but the way they get their superhuman abilities is through the heart-shaped herb. Basically, this plant is a very specific herb native to Wakanda. It can only grow in very specific conditions.
Yeah, so what made it so special is that the soil it grows in actually has traces of vibranium in it. The vibranium mutated the plant so that whoever consumes it gains abilities similar to the Super Soldier Serum. But in the comics, it's even more than that. It enhances every sense in the body, even giving the subject night vision, scent tracking, subliminal awareness. It's also mentioned that it improves cognitive abilities, meaning you can think faster and potentially be smarter than you were before you took the herb.
Yeah, I mean, we're not saying that you can take the herb and instantly know how to make a super Starbucks Supreme coffee, but you get the idea. It's sort of similar to how the serum reacts, is that the serum enhances what is already there, both physically and cognitively.
Exactly. But the problem is that the herb is kind of toxic.
You're not going to be making tea out of this herb, you know?
Unfortunately, you can't steep this and make a nice little chai latte or nothing like that. Only the royal bloodline of Black Panthers have the immunity to these toxins and therefore gain the abilities of the herb without dying first, which makes sense given the heart-shaped herb sends the subject through an almost near-death experience where they enter the spirit realm and see their ancestors, and then Herb Kazaz from BoJack Horseman comes out and he's like, no, BoJack. There is nothing else. This is it. So how is the heart-shaped herb and the serum related? The fan theory that we found said that during Erskine's research, he would have discovered the Wakandan plant and used it as the base for his research. It's debated, though, where in Africa that Wakanda actually is. But during World War II, Germany did invade Africa. So there is an excuse there about Germany knowing of Wakanda or even coming into contact with one of T'Challa's ancestors who held the title of the Black Panther. We also know that somehow Howard Stark got his hands on vibranium from Wakanda. So is it a far stretch to think that they might have taken a limited supply of the heart-shaped herb as well when Erskine moved to the US? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Right. You see, this is where some people would say this theory falls through, right? It's how Abraham Erskine gets his hands on the heart-shaped herb in the first place. Wakanda is a secretive country. The rest of the world thought the vibranium was all but mined to exhaustion when Captain America's shield was made in World War II. But as we found out in Black Panther, it was actually just that the Wakandan government was keeping it a secret from the rest of the world. So surely this superpowered plant would be treated the same, right? Not necessarily. You see, first, the plant is toxic all but to a select few people, which means that they don't have to worry about someone suddenly coming across this plant and eating it and then suddenly getting Black Panther's powers. No, they're just gonna die. The second thing is that we kind of assume in Black Panther that the garden where the ceremonies take place is the only place where the heart-shaped herb is grown. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. It could be growing elsewhere. Comparing it to vibranium, vibranium isn't exclusive to Wakanda. As we find out in the comics, vibranium is actually an extraterrestrial material in origin that arrived on a meteorite 1 million years ago. There have been moments in the comics where different variations of vibranium have been found across the planet. So in the same sense, it's not a far stretch to think that the heart-shaped herb could actually grow somewhere else. Of course, it doesn't even necessarily need to be somewhere outside of Wakanda. They could have went to Wakanda and found the plant. It just takes Abraham Erskine connecting the dots between this plant and the Black Panther's powers, either by knowledge of the ceremony or by trial and error. So what does this mean? Even if the heart-shaped herb was taken and was used as the base for research, it's still a toxic plant, right? The theory goes that every single time they've tried to perfect the super soldier serum, there's always been something missing.
Love.
Just the love in the oven. Love and biggie.
It was love all along.
Apart from love, this is what I think it is. It's the super serum's relation to radiation treatment.
Okay, so yeah, whenever Steve Rogers is being put through his transformation, Erskine exposes him to Vita rays to stimulate growth. And the big thing about the Hulk is his relation to gamma radiation. And supposedly that's the thing that screws up the serum and dramatically changes him into the Hulk. Big Chungus Green Man go grrr.
But that's the thing, right? Is like, okay, there are moments where there are different versions of the serum that are injected into people without radiation treatment, as clear as whenever Bruce Banner went and did it and whenever Steve Rogers went and did it, which maybe makes me think, what if the serum is pre-treated with radiation rather than the subject being treated so that they become big and bulky? But you may be thinking, how does this relate to the heart-shaped herb? We know that the herb is toxic, but it's not radiation toxic, right? Well, the plant isn't necessarily radioactive, but what if the soil that it grows in is? See, during the Black Panther ceremony, T'Challa gets covered in the soil, which we know would have vibranium in it, since it's the soil that the herb grows in. There was a paper published by Sabrina Collins and Lovetta Appleby from the Lawrence Technological University who tried to estimate where vibranium would be on the periodic table if it existed in our world.
I'm glad that's what the research is being put towards instead of like cancer.
Oh gosh, imagine.
Like just actual diseases. Like, okay, guys, we may still be struggling. However, Black Panther could be so legit. We found that out. Anyways, you're welcome. Where's my medal?
Right, well, here's the thing, right? In one of those papers, they suggested that given its immense list of properties, means that it could actually emit energy if it's related to some of the similar metals on the periodic table. Now, there are loads of different types of radiation, most of which are harmless in small doses, but what if radiation is the key? What if the properties within the heart-shaped herb can only be activated with a certain type of radiation? Could it be that the other serums just haven't been able to replicate the radiation properly because they don't know about it because of their lack of access to vibranium? Vita rays is the closest thing that Dr. Erskine was able to create that resembled vibranium's radiation's effects. Yes, but T'Challa didn't become overly buff when he took the herb, so why did Captain America? Because they were trying to create super soldiers. They overexposed him to radiation. 10 times that than what you would be exposed to if it was just a mixture of soil and vibranium in the Wakandan soil. Vibranium in the comics has been known to cause sickness when overexposed to its raw versions. What if the radiation transforms this plant into the form that allows people to gain the superhuman powers.
What about the whole toxic side, right? The plant is still toxic, and it's just the Black Panthers who happen to be immune. Others can't just ingest it and gain powers, right? No, they can't. And on top of that, even if they happen to get the plant once before Erskine got killed, they wouldn't be able to get it again, right?
Well, absolutely. That's why they synthetically replicate it. They synthetically replicate the plant, or at least chemically, or at least Stark does in the MCU.
Yeah, and that makes sense in the comics. Killmonger isn't of the royal bloodline and actually almost dies when he tries to take the heart-shaped herb to gain powers. So instead, he has a synthetic and buffered one made, so the herb can be replicated.
And of course, there is still trial and error when it comes to these serums, which is why the failed Winter Soldier program happened and the Hulk happened. And of course, these effects happen gradually without radiation exposure. It's why the likes of Emil Blonsky didn't turn into the Abomination until he got exposed to Bruce Banner's gamma-exposed blood. So, okay, let's say this is true. How would the timeline look?
Okay, well, Erskine gets his hand on the herb during his research when Germany takes an interest in Africa during World War II. During those expeditions, Erskine learns of the Black Panther and potentially of the ceremony, and the Black Panther is technically an older hero than Captain America, so him being spotted around that time isn't that big of a stretch. That in turn means that the Black Panther created or gave inspiration to the super soldier serum. Erskine escapes from Germany after Johann Schmidt turns into the Red Skull because the process isn't perfect, leaving behind any ingredients he had gathered up to that point. Howard Stark, or a research team, goes to Wakanda and obtains the vibranium to make Cap's shield, and they get more of the plants along with it. From there, they know the general chemical composition of the formula and its reaction to radiation, but Erskine is the only one who really gets the specific radiation part. Then, they do their magic. Who's it's, what's it's. Look at that. Boom. You leave him in there for 3 minutes. Boom. Captain America's born. Armin Zola was present during Erskine's research and is able to copy it, but relied on samples of the herb to make it, meaning that Bucky is still somewhat functional. However, by the time the base where he is experimenting in blows up, he doesn't know the chemical structure of the plant, which is why Hydra can't recreate it and have to steal Stark's formula to make the other Winter Soldiers. The same formula research that Stark was creating circles round to Thaddeus Ross, who's in charge of Project Rebirth, and then they eventually created the closest replication to the Captain America serum, which gives birth to Emil Blonsky, but later, with exposure to gamma radiation, the Hulk and Abomination.
Pretty wild, right? But what would this theory mean if it came true with the rest of the MCU? I think it could have implications with the return of Thaddeus Ross. I think Ross is going to have a bigger presence in the future MCU, regardless if he becomes the Red Hulk or not using the serum. He may even be building his own team in the form of the Thunderbolts. Heck, with Taskmaster being the big bad of the upcoming Black Widow movie, we could see the resurgence of Project Rebirth, as canonically, Taskmaster also received the serum in the comics.
Yeah, this also has implications for Black Panther. We know that the Black Panther mantle might be inherited by another character. One of the biggest potential candidates is Shuri, and many think that an arc she could have would be trying to keep T'Challa's vision of Wakanda alive. She could also struggle with the open border policy, which could lead to others stealing vibranium or the heart-shaped herb. What if Thaddeus Ross is the one who organizes the stealing? This would cause conflict within Wakanda's government, causing more trouble for Shuri as she attempts to become a leader.
And as we all know, all the heart-shaped herbs were destroyed by Killmonger, bar one bulb saved by Nakia. However, it will take a long while before the next bunch are grown, as one bulb couldn't possibly be enough to produce the next Black Panther. So what if a synthetic version of the herb or a super soldier serum of sorts is used to create the next Black Panther?
Okay, but we're ignoring a big thing here. The super soldier serum is a bit of an overused trope in the MCU at this point, right? So with everything that's happened with WandaVision and the introduction of either the mutants or multiverse, anything like that, it might be a bit tiring for the serum to keep being the reason why a character is super powerful. But then again, there are other characters in the Marvel universe who are given powers as a result of the serum.
Yeah, like the Destroyer or the Union Jack.
Man-Thing.
Even Dr. Mind Bubble. all this aside, I think the super soldier serum will eventually be reintroduced into the MCU. Whether or not this connection is something that could happen, it would definitely be interesting, but we'll just have to wait and see when the next couple of films roll around. What do you guys think? Could this theory have some credence in the MCU? Or is it just some more wishful thinking from us fans? I mean, come on, guys. All the Marvel films got pushed back by like a year. We are starving for content. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time.